continue to look into the death of 20-year-old DeAndre Joshua, found dead Monday night in a car near the scene of rioting in Ferguson. His death ruled a homicide. Not clear whether it was related to the unrest over the grand jury verdict.
November 25th.
Yeah.
That was that they made the Mike Brown grand jury decision.
Yeah.
They had all them riots and shit out there.
Yeah. Yeah. That was about. That's my boy Day.
So your boy who, DeAndre?
Yeah, my twin. Rest in peace to Money Sight, you know what I'm saying? Be feeling funny though. But every day, you know what I'm saying, I ain't gonna lie, cause I straight spaz out. Like around the moments, bro, like I turn into this beast, bro. Like, and I have to like bite on my teeth, like grin on my teeth, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that. But yeah, like that shit fucked up. That fucked up a whole atmosphere around me.
Do you think any way that it's connected to the Mike Brown decision? Like, you think it was a result of that?
Man,
result of that Mike?
To be honest, bro, whoever played that part, nigga, you know what I'm saying? Like, they got away with murder. No cap, like, and I smile because, you know what I'm saying? The shit is like, it's so confusing. You don't even know how to react to the shit, bro. So I put my grin on, and my grin just
like you say, you don't know. It could be anybody.
It could be anybody.
It could be somebody else, you know,
Yeah.
KKK members retaliating for the you know, they was on some bullshit during that time.
But backdoor shit been going on.
Oh,
Really,
yeah.
rest in peace to Dre. You know what I'm saying?
I
But
did
bro
too.
said that shit in his rap.
I
My
talked
boy
to a
K.
lot of St. Louis people, man. All they keep saying is backdoor, man.
Yeah, that backdoor shit, that shit real. You know what I'm saying? That shit real.
And Save Me was a tribute basically to your brother.
Yeah, yeah. That was for bruh. Had to let the world, like, everybody, you know what I'm saying, wanted to know how I was coping with this shit, how I was dealing with it. So that was my first time really letting the streets to feel the enemy. You know what I'm saying? That's how I felt. You know what I'm saying? So I had to put the song out, and I straight cried writing that motherfucker, bro. Oh God, that I feel like that's why it's so like a motherfucker feel it to the heart. You know what I'm saying? Cause I straight had to put blood, sweat, and tears in that shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, and as I was, it took me 3 days to make this shit, and it ain't never took me that long to, you know what I'm saying, make no rap. But as I was going along, bro, the tears was falling, but I was smiling. So I felt the energy, you know what I'm saying, to be like, yeah, that third probably gonna be that thing. But yeah, that was for brother.
That 512, you say you wish you would have died. You would have died with him, man. So I guess how are you coping with it, man?
I mean, to be honest, bro, like, I did die with him, bro, and our real life dressed us alike just to see what I look like in a casket. You know what I'm saying? I always had a vision of us being in a casket. Like, when I was little, I used to have dreams about us, one of us in a casket, but, you know what I'm saying? So when it came to reality, I just made that dream come out my head. So that's really why I be saying that I wish I would have died too, because it hurt me to the core to where, like, I feel like I'm empty, you know what I'm saying? So
You lost a part of you.
yeah. It's a now birthday is like a gift and a curse now, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how it is.
Celebrating, goddamn, you reminiscing the memories.
Well,
you
so
had.
far the last couple of years, I ain't even been. I shut down, you know what I'm saying? Like no grave visit.
Welcome back, my beautiful people. Thank you for standing with me. Thank you for standing with truth and for standing with every family whose pain was ignored. This is not just entertainment. This is a battle for memory, a fight for justice, and a refusal to let these names fade into silence. Today we come back stronger. Today we come back louder. And today we carry the fire of our ancestors as we expose what others tried to bury. Let's get into it.
This for Ferguson. This for everybody they tried to bury. Let's go. Dre don't die. He lived through us. Dre don't die. We turning up. Dre don't die. They ain't stopping us. We gon' ride for Dre. Yeah, we out here thugging. Dre don't die. He lived through us. Dre don't die. And turning up. Let the block feel Dre when it move through the street.
On the night the grand jury refused to indict Officer Darren Wilson, Ferguson burned. The world saw flames dancing across television screens. Reporters rushed to capture the chaos. Helicopters hovered above smoke-filled streets. People shouted, cried, and screamed into the night.
About 8 shots, 9 shots. Let's go back. Back.
After a full and impartial and critical examination of all the evidence in the law and decide if that evidence supported the filing of any criminal charges against Darren Wilson, they accepted and completed this monumental responsibility in a conscientious and expeditious manner. It is important to note here and say again that they are the only people who have heard and examined every witness and every piece of evidence. They discussed and debated the evidence among themselves before arriving at their collective decision. After their exhaustive review of the evidence, the grand jury deliberated over 2 days, making their final decision. They determined that no probable cause exists to file any charge against Officer Wilson and returned a no true bill on each of the 5 indictments. The physical and scientific evidence examined by the grand jury, combined with the witness statements supported and substantiated by that physical evidence, tells the accurate and tragic story of what happened. A very general synopsis of the testimony and the physical evidence presented to the grand jury follows. Please note that, as I have promised, the evidence presented to the grand jury, with some exceptions, and the testimony of the witnesses called to the grand jury will be released at the conclusion of this statement. At approximately 11:45 a.m. on Saturday, the 9th of August, Ferguson Police Officer Darren Wilson was dispatched to the Northwinds apartment complex for an emergency involving a 2-month-old infant having trouble breathing. At approximately 11:53, while still at the Northwinds call, Wilson heard a radio broadcast for a stealing in progress at a market on West Florissant. The broadcast also included a brief description of the suspect, a black male wearing a white t-shirt who took a box of Swisher cigars. Other officers were dispatched to that store. Officer Wilson remained with the mother and the infant until EMS arrived to transport them to the hospital. Officer Wilson then left Northwinds complex in this Ferguson police vehicle, a Chevy Tahoe SUV, and drove west on Canfield towards West Florissant. An additional description of the stealing suspect was broadcast about that time, wearing a red hat, yellow socks, khaki shorts, and he was with another male. As Officer Wilson was attending to his emergency call on Northwinds, Michael Brown and a companion were in the local convenience store on West Florissant. Michael Brown's activity in that story was recorded by the store's security cameras. The video, often played following its release in August by the Ferguson Police Department, shows Michael Brown grabbing a handful of cigarillos and heading toward the exit without paying. As Michael Brown and his companion left the store, someone inside the store called the police. After crossing West Florissant, the two walked east on Canfield in the middle of the street, Mr. Brown directly behind his companion. As Officer Wilson continued west on Canfield, he encountered Michael Brown and his companion still walking in the middle of the street. As Wilson slowed or stopped as he reached Mr. Brown, he told them to move to the sidewalk. Words were exchanged and they continued walking down the middle of the street. As they passed, Wilson observed that Michael Brown had cigarillos in his hand and was wearing a red hat and yellow socks. At approximately 12:02 p.m., Wilson radioed that he had 2 individuals on Canfield and needed assistance. Officer Wilson backed his vehicle at an angle, blocking their path and blocking the flow of traffic in both directions. Several cars approached from both east and west but were unable to pass the police vehicle. An altercation took place at the car with Officer Wilson seated inside the vehicle and Mr. Brown standing at the driver's window. During the altercation, 2 shots were fired by Officer Wilson while still inside the vehicle. Mr. Brown ran east on Canfield and Officer Wilson gave chase. Near the corner of Canfield and Copper Creek, Mr. Brown stopped and turned back towards Officer Wilson. Officer Wilson also stopped. As Michael Brown moved toward Officer Wilson, several more shots were fired by the officer, and Michael Brown was fatally wounded. Within seconds of the final shot, the assist car arrived. Less than 90 seconds passed between Officer Wilson's first contact with Michael Brown and his companion and the arrival of that assist car. During the investigation, many eyewitnesses were interviewed by various media outlets. Several others chose not to talk to the media, but contacted law enforcement directly. Witnesses were interviewed by local and federal law enforcement, sometimes together, sometimes separately, but all statements were provided to the other party. All previous statements of witnesses who testified before the grand jury were also presented to the grand jury, whether they were media interviews or whether they were interviews by the FBI or by the county police department. The statements of all witnesses, civilian, law enforcement, and experts, were challenged, of course, by other law enforcement, by the prosecutors, and by the grand jurors themselves. A common and highly effective method of challenging a statement is to compare it to the previous statements of the witness for consistency and to compare it with the physical evidence. Physical evidence does not change because of public pressure or personal agenda. Physical evidence does not look away as events unfold, nor does it block out or add to memory.
But while the world watched the fires, something else was happening in the shadows, something the cameras never stayed long enough to see. 20-year-old DeAndre Dre Joshua wasn't protesting. He wasn't marching or confronting police. He had just gotten off work from his job at Walmart. A young man with a twin brother, a mother who adored him, and dreams of becoming a rapper one day. But before sunrise, his mother recognized his burned-out car on the morning news. A nightmare no parent should ever endure. On November 25, 2014, just hours after the protests exploded, police responded to a call on Glen Owen Drive, less than a mile from Canfield Green. There, inside a parked 2004 Pontiac, they found DeAndre's body. The initial details were limited, but what little they said was devastating. He had been shot once in the head. Someone then attempted to set his body on fire. Investigators said that an accelerant appeared to have been poured inside the vehicle, but the fire had burned out before it could engulf the entire car. DeAndre's legs, arms, and hands showed significant burns. Based on early findings, detectives believed he had been in the vehicle for several hours before he was discovered around 9 a.m. The case was immediately classified as a homicide, but police refused to say whether the killing had any connection to the riots that erupted the night before. Photographs from the scene showed a white sedan with one of its windows shattered, surrounded by police tape. The quiet of the crime scene stood in sharp contrast to the chaos that had consumed Ferguson only hours earlier. Neighbors stood outside, confused and shaken, wondering how yet another tragedy had unfolded in the same community already suffocating under grief. A neighbor named Richard Taylor later told reporters that the night before the body was found, he witnessed something frightening outside his apartment. He claimed he saw 4 individuals carrying guns, arguing loudly about looting, and even saying they wanted to kill someone. Disturbed by what he heard, Taylor said he called the police, but with officers overwhelmed across Ferguson, no one ever arrived. Whether those people had any connection to DeAndre's death remains unknown, but the timing and the violence of that night cast a long shadow over the investigation. Police said they interviewed several of DeAndre's family members and at least one friend who had been with him earlier in the evening. But after these initial steps, the case went silent. No suspects were identified. No arrests were made. No clear motive was shared with the public. The investigation stalled almost immediately, leaving the community with more questions than answers. For many in Ferguson, nothing about DeAndre's murder felt random. It felt calculated. It felt like someone wanted to send a message. A single bullet to the head and a fire intentionally set, those are not the trademarks of chaos. They are the signs of control, precision, intent. And in the years that followed, as other men connected to the Ferguson movement died under suspicious circumstances, that pattern became impossible to ignore. This sequence of deaths would later be called the Ferguson Six, a cold, haunting list of young black men whose stories were never fully explained. But after 2025, the list would grow again, becoming the Ferguson Seven. Each case had different circumstances, but they shared a tragic common thread: unanswered questions, devastated families, and a city haunted by silence. The timeline began with DeAndre Joshua in November 2014. He was shot once in the head with his body partially burned. The case remains unsolved. Then came Sean Grady. In January 2015, he was found in a burned vehicle in Jennings. This case is also still unsolved. In February 2016, activist Marshawn McCarroll was found dead at the Ohio State House, a death ruled a suicide but disputed by his family. He made a Facebook post about being stalked, threatened, and harassed. In September 2016, activist Darren Seals, one of the loudest voices demanding answers about DeAndre's murder, was found inside his Jeep, shot and burned in a strikingly similar manner. His death also remains unsolved. The following year, in May 2017, protester Edward Crawford was found shot in his car. Police labeled it a suicide, but his family vehemently disagreed. He was riding with two witnesses who stated he shot himself, but we know that witnesses can be paid off. In October 2018, 24-year-old Danye Jones, the son of Ferguson organizer Melissa McKinney's, was found hanging in his backyard. Police called it a suicide. The family and community rejected that explanation, pointing to multiple inconsistencies. And then years later, the tragedy deepened once more. In September 2025, nearly 11 years after Michael Brown's death, the young man who stood beside him, witness, survivor, and symbol of truth, was killed. 33-year-old Dorian Johnson was shot in Ferguson. Police said it was an officer involved. A suspect was detained, then released. Details were scarce, and for many the silence felt familiar. For years, a rumor circulated online that two of Dorian's friends had been murdered after the protests, but the truth was different. Only one friend, DeAndre Joshua, had been killed. The rumor was wrong, but the fear behind it was painfully real. Because in the end, it wasn't another friend who died, it was Dorian himself. As DeAndre's story resurfaced in the aftermath of Dorian's death, the community reflected on the night that changed everything. The questions surrounding DeAndre's murder remain as heavy as the day it happened. Why was he killed? Who pulled the trigger? Who tried to burn his body? Why was there no meaningful follow-up? The case sits frozen in time, suspended between silence, speculation, and fear. Similar to the Darren Seals Jr. case, eerily similar. Some believe DeAndre witnessed something on the night Ferguson erupted, something that made him a target. Others believe he was mistaken for someone else. Some point to local conflicts or individuals he may have known. Activists like Darren Seals believe DeAndre's death was a deliberate act, a warning embedded in violence. None of these theories have been confirmed, but none have been disproven either. Today, DeAndre Joshua's case remains unsolved. His mother and family still pray for answers. The community still speaks his name. And this documentary stands as a witness to his truth, a truth that was never meant to burn away. Justice delayed is justice denied, and in DeAndre's case, justice has not yet arrived.
There's a theory rising out of St. Louis, and it's one the streets haven't stopped whispering about. For years, the deaths of DeAndre Joshua and Darren Seals have haunted Ferguson like unfinished sentences. Two young men, both shot, both found inside burning cars, both silenced before they could speak their truth. And then, in 2021, another name surfaced, Perez D. Reed, a man accused of multiple murders across St. Louis and Kansas City, a man arrested with the very weapon tied to several shootings, a man whose alleged crimes mirror patterns this community has seen before. So tonight we dive into what many call the Perez Reed theory, the possibility that the violence of 2014 and 2016 may not have been random, that the same darkness walking Missouri streets in 2021 may have walked them long before. This isn't confirmation, this isn't accusation, but it is a question that deserves to be asked. Could there be a connection? And if so, why has no one ever said it out loud? Let's talk about it.
Can I ask you, if the person's facing charges on 6 murders, then what is the harm in throwing the name out there?
I mean, it was Perez Reed. That was our friend. They used to shoot dice a lot all the time.
What you're looking at is the aftermath of the grand jury deciding not to indict Officer.
29-year-old Darren Seals was murdered before his killer set his car on fire.
Once they put out the flames, they discovered Seals' body inside with a gunshot wound.
He pointed guns on me and my 14-year-old little brother. It's Ferguson PD. Grabbed me by my heart, slammed me out the car. He said you might want to pick your enemies better.
This is After the Uprising, Season 2, The Murder of Darren Seals.
Authorities in Missouri say they may have a serial killer in custody.
There is a serial killer walking among us.
A suspected serial killer charged with murders in the St. Louis area.
New charges against suspected serial killer Perez Reed.
The FBI has arrested a man suspected in multiple homicides in St. Louis City and County. Authorities say 25-year-old Perez Reed is now behind bars. Authorities say he is believed to be responsible for 6 murders and several shootings around St. Louis and Kansas City.
If it was Perez Reed, do you have any reason why he would have wanted to kill your brother?
That was our producer, John Duffy, asking Dante Joshua why he suspects that Perez Reed is the person who killed his twin brother, DeAndre. We are asking Dante about this because when his brother DeAndre was killed in 2014, he was shot in the back of the head, and the car he was in was set on fire. Because the method of execution was pretty much identical to the method used in the murder of Darren Seals, we thought it was worth comparing notes on the cases. We were surprised first that Dante had a name to give us regarding who he thought had killed his brother. And we were even more surprised when that name was Perez Reed, who was 25 years old when he was arrested in late 2021 on the suspicion that he'd committed 6 murders, with another murder added to that list the following year. Dante explained to us that he and his brother had been good friends with Perez.
Look, this is how he goes. Like, Perez, we knew him personally. We used to be with him every day. So, like, when he get attitudes, he used to turn into somebody you would not think he was when he got mad. Prior to that, he beat another one of our friends. He lost his money in a dice game, and he beat him with a skillet in his house, locked him in his house and beat him with a skillet once he lost. So I know the type of things he did, like how mad he can get. I done watched them gamble with each other, and to the point where they were gambling each other clothes off their back. I don't know when nobody would try to kill, but I do know that DeAndre had shot dice with him earlier that day, and everybody in the apartments lost their money to him. So there could have been a reason. And
did you always suspect him?
My cousin did, but I thought it was like our friends. So I'm like, he wouldn't do that. Then after he started getting accused for it, he started checking himself to his psych ward, tried to kill his cousin. So I was just putting the piece to the puzzle. And now that he killed that 16-year-old on Glen Orange, he killed DeAndre on Glen Orange.
The 16-year-old that Dante mentioned, who was killed in the same location as his brother DeAndre, was Marnay Haynes. She's referred to here in this news report.
The youngest victim, 16-year-old Marnay Haynes.
She was so bubbly every day. She would like to rap. She would like to listen to music all the time. Every single day, she would smile.
The day before he allegedly shot and killed Marnay Haynes, Perez allegedly shot a man who was waiting for a bus on Chambers Road in St. Louis County. That man survived but is now permanently disabled. 4 days after shooting the unnamed man at the bus stop, Perez allegedly shot an unnamed woman in the face on West Florissant Avenue in St. Louis. She was able to make it to a nearby gas station to ask for help, and she survived. Only 1 hour later and a half mile away, at 11:45 p.m., Perez allegedly shot Pamela Abercrombie in the head. Police found her bleeding out in the street, and she died of her wound at the hospital.
A memorial for Pam Abercrombie on West Florissant shows the passage of time, weeks since the flowers went up here, at the same spot where she was shot on September 16th.
On September 19th, 3 days after the shooting of Pamela Abercrombie, the body of Carrie Ross was found in a vacant lot. Gunshots had been reported in the area the night before, but officers responding didn't find the victim at the time. The .40 caliber shells found at the scene matched those found at the scenes of the previous victims. 1 week later, Ferguson police found the body of Lester Robinson. He had been fatally shot in the head. After this spree, Perez seems to have quieted down for a month. At the end of October, he took an Amtrak train from St. Louis to Kansas City, Kansas. Based on communications police later found, Perez was going to Kansas City ostensibly to meet a woman named Radaja Denaya Farrow to buy drugs from her. She lived in a high-rise building, and it was in that building where Perez allegedly killed his 3 final victims. Radaja herself was one of them, along with neighbors Damon Washington Irvin and Stephen Johnson. The 16-year-old that Dante mentioned, who was killed in the same location as his brother DeAndre, was Marnay Haynes. She's referred to here in this news report.
The youngest victim, 16-year-old Marnay Haynes.
She was so bubbly every day. She would like to rap. She would like to listen to music all the time. Every single day, she would smile.
The day before he allegedly shot and killed Marnay Haynes, Perez allegedly shot a man who was waiting for a bus on Chambers Road in St. Louis County. That man survived but is now permanently disabled. 4 days after shooting the unnamed man at the bus stop, Perez allegedly shot an unnamed woman in the face on West Florissant Avenue in St. Louis. She was able to make it to a nearby gas station to ask for help, and she survived. Only 1 hour later and a half-mile away, at 11:45 p.m., Perez allegedly shot Pamela Abercrombie in the head. Police found her bleeding out in the street, and she died of her wound at the hospital.
A memorial for Pam Abercrombie on West Florissant shows the passage of time, weeks since the flowers went up here, at the same spot where she was shot on September 16th.
On September 19th, 3 days after the shooting of Pamela Abercrombie, the body of Carrie Ross was found in a vacant lot. Gunshots had been reported in the area the night before, but officers responding didn't find the victim at the time. The .40 caliber shells found at the scene matched those found at the scenes of the previous victims. 1 week later, Ferguson police found the body of Lester Robinson. He had been fatally shot in the head. After this spree, Perez seems to have quieted down for a month. At the end of October, he took an Amtrak train from St. Louis to Kansas City, Kansas. Based on communications police later found, Perez was going to Kansas City ostensibly to meet a woman named Radaja Denaya Farrow to buy drugs from her. She lived in a high-rise building, and it was in that building where Perez allegedly killed his 3 final victims. Radaja herself was one of them, along with neighbors Damon Washington Irvin and Stephen Johnson.
Are you gonna let her know that we're here? Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you, sir. Hi, Miss Sherry.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good. Are you Miss Sherry?
No, you looking for Sherry?
Miss Sherry, yes.
Mama.
To better understand who Perez was, we went to his aunt's house. She had been his legal guardian.
My name is Maria, and this is Ray. And are you Miss Sherry? Hi, Miss Sherry. Hi. We are coming to your house unannounced, but we wanted to introduce ourselves. My name is Maria, and this is Ray. Okay. And Ray is doing some background information about Perez, and he wanted to ask you a couple of questions, if that's possible.
About who?
Perez.
Yeah, we don't have no comment.
Okay, so
Thank you.
Everything that's in the paper, we just stick to what's in the paper?
Whatever they say.
Okay.
We didn't comment to that, so.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Are you able to tell us where he was living around 2014? Do you know
I have no idea.
Anyone else we should try to talk to just
He
find
don't
out?
have anybody else to talk to. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Sherry. Have a good day.
Since his aunt was unwilling to speak with us, We went to Sam's Meat Market, a small business in Ferguson where we heard Perez previously worked. It was a long shot, but we figured it was worth checking into.
Hello. Is the owner here? Are you the owner? Oh. Is there anybody who has worked here since 2013? So there's not a person who's been working here since 2013?
The man working up front was unable to help us, so we went to the kitchen at the back of the building where a couple of men were cleaning up.
Can I ask, how long have you been working here? Yeah. Oh, 3 years? Were you ever here when a guy named Perez Reed would come in? No. He was arrested late last year for like multiple murders and said he worked here at one point. Doing a little podcast.
It turns out one of the employees who was working did remember Perez.
Did he always have that tattoo?
You remember him yourself. So he just did like a side hustle, a side gig.
Yeah, he was just kind of come over here and take out the trash and some sweet. Move some pasta around and probably the bathroom and something.
Yeah. Sorry, one more thing, just to then leave you alone. But if we wanted to try to get to know more about him and who he was and what he was all about, is there anybody we should try to talk to? Anyone he hung out with?
I might talk to him.
Talk to who?
Yeah, upset.
As luck would have it, the employee told us that if we wanted to talk directly to Perez's cousin, Caden, we could, because he was standing right outside.
Yeah, we're just trying to better understand what happened there, really. We're just kind of trying to get to know people who knew him and try to figure out why he went off in 2021.
Well, he's schizophrenic. Yeah. Only a psychiatrist knows how to deal with that psychological problem.
The second man you're hearing was standing outside the market with Caden. He told us he also knew Perez.
I'm like, how would you describe it? He just had like a temper, and sometimes he just would come in with a...
Nah, he was paranoid a lot. He thought everybody was after him, people was looking at him, following him, all type of shit.
He held it together for all those years, and then all of a sudden in 2021 he goes on that spree.
He's frantic, and I can tell you, only a psychiatrist can deal with that. None of us can.
And he'd come here mostly to hang out or mostly to work?
No, he was just sweeping the lot.
Who were some of his friends? Who else should we talk to?
He didn't really have many friends.
Caden said Perez didn't have many friends, but he did have a lawyer, so we called him to see if maybe we could arrange to speak with Perez himself.
I'm trying to reach David Bruns.
Yeah, this is David.
Hey, David. I'm a reporter and a podcaster, and I guess I wanted to get in touch to see if we might make a request of Perez for an interview.
Wait. What's going on? Who is this?
My name's Ray Novoselsky. I do a podcast called After the Uprising, and there are elements that seem to connect with the story of Perez Reed. So I was just calling to see if I might request an interview with him if he were inclined. I know there are things he can't say, but there might be things he wants to say.
Right. No, it's not. No, I'm not going to give any comment on Perez Reed.
Are you still representing him?
I absolutely am.
Okay. Would he consider an interview, or could such a request be passed?
No.
Okay. Well, that's pretty clear. Thank you.
Okay.
Perez's attorney was not interested in commenting, and he was absolutely not willing to pass on our request for an interview with his client. As fate would have it, there were some people who knew Perez who were willing to talk about him, and I just happened to meet them in a rideshare.
Perez used to come to my mom's house all the time. Him and my brother was actually close friends. He was handsome, he was in school, he was doing everything that, he was playing football with my brother and everything. He never gave off a serial killer type of vibe, never. Like, when my mama seen the article, she was like, I know that's not Perez that used to be over here. Like, this man used to be in the house with us. What did he do? He was a serial killer. Nobody expected that to be the outcome. I honestly think Perez got a hold of some type of drug that messed up his mind, because I was always into my brother was always his big bro, so I'm not understanding. He was a cool dude. How old is he? About 27? Perez is about 27 now. After they got out of school, we didn't hear from Perez after that. I don't know what happened to him. I do believe he experienced something traumatic in his life which caused him to slip off his humanity.
He never had like a stable home. That was part of it.
Never had a stable home.
A suspected serial killer charged with murders in the St. Louis area was accused of arson 5 years ago. But despite facing prosecution, the case against Perez Reed was dropped. Thank you for being with us. I'm Ann Allred.
And I'm Mike Bush. Reed is charged with 4 homicides in the St. Louis area, and 2 more murder cases are pending against him in Kansas City, Kansas. While his criminal history is relatively unremarkable, the I-Team is learning more about an arson case that could have put him in prison and why it got dismissed. Here's Christine Byers.
All signs of a fire that happened here 5 years ago are gone. The siding is new, so is the garage door. It was a different story in August of 2016 when Ferguson police say Perez Reed set this attached garage on fire, even though 4 members of his family were inside the home. A police report obtained by the I-Team says Reed's father, aunt, cousin, and grandmother were huddled together and visibly shaking when officers arrived, and that they were willing to prosecute the 20-year-old. Back then, Bob McCullough, St. Louis County's prosecutor, charged Reed with first-degree arson. A judge dismissed the case in 2019 for failure to prosecute. A spokesman for McCullough's successor, Wesley Bell, told the I-Team Reed's cousin and grandmother refused to cooperate despite repeated attempts by prosecutors and investigators. Washington University law professor Peter Joyce says prosecutors have options when it comes to reluctant witnesses.
If the person doesn't show up to court, then they could ask the court to basically either hold the person in contempt for failing or to send out a deputy to pick up the person.
Joyce says just because prosecutors can push doesn't mean they should.
When you know that a person is adamant about not wanting to cooperate, I think a prosecutor has to think long and hard about using these coercive measures, especially if they're not going to produce anything.
Prosecutors say they did all they could to move the case forward.
From my knowledge, that was witnesses who were not willing to testify, family members who were not willing to cooperate is not surprising.
Had Reed been convicted of the arson, he could have been sentenced to between 5 and 15 years in prison. The murders he's accused of committing happened in September and October of this year. For the I-Team, Christine Byers, 5 on your side.
We learned more about Reed from the police report, and you can read those details in Christine's full report at KSTK.com.
So with me and my nigga riding, goddamn me, got me and my nigga on the side of me, goddamn me. Yeah, we just chilling. I'm at the gig on break type shit, you know. Smoking on the black. Listening to that Lil Dirt. Got some more. Bro, what's up, man? What you been on, man? Oh yeah. Me too, man. I'm trying to get up there like you, my nigga. What's up with it though, partner? My nigga, it's been my nigga since day one. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah. For the motherfucker that think I'm stupid, think I'm crazy, insane, think I'm talking to myself, I'm talking to my motherfucking homeboy, nigga, like I said. My motherfucking homeboy, like I said.
Before we close this chapter, I want to make one point absolutely clear for everyone watching. Although his name has been mentioned in conversations and internet speculation, Perez Reed was never charged, never arrested, and never officially tied to the murder of DeAndre Dre Joshua. There is no public record, no police statement, and no prosecutorial action connecting Reed to this case. His name surfaced only through rumor, not evidence, and the truth must always stand above assumption. So what does that leave us with? It leaves us with the same unanswered questions that began on November 25th, 2014. Over the years, several theories have circulated through the community, each one reflecting the pain, fear, and confusion of that night. Some believe DeAndre witnessed something during the unrest, something someone didn't want him to speak about. Others believe he was mistaken for another person or another vehicle. There are theories involving street conflicts and theories shared by activists like Darren Seals, who believe DeAndre's murder was a deliberate warning, not a coincidence. And to this day, none of these theories have been confirmed or disproven. They exist because silence leaves space for speculation, and injustice leaves wounds that never quite close. As we end this documentary, I want to thank you for walking this journey with me. Thank you for listening with empathy, for thinking critically, and for caring about a young man whose name didn't make national headlines the way it should have. Your presence here means that DeAndre Joshua is not forgotten. It means that the truth still matters. And it means that justice, even delayed, is still worth fighting for. This story is heavy, but we do not end in sorrow. We end in remembrance. We end in power. We end in celebration of a life that deserves so much more. And that is why, before we leave, I want to take you into a songography dedicated to Dr. A tribute, a rhythm, a heartbeat, a reminder that even when the world tries to silence someone, art can still speak their name. So stay right here with me. Take a breath. Hold his name in your heart. And as the music begins, let this songography be our way of saying, Dre lives on, Dre is remembered, and Dre will never be erased.
But the truth stayed inside. Mama cried out, said his name with a pain. But the city turned his back, let his story wash down the drain. He wasn't in the protest, wasn't holding no sign. Just a young black king trying to walk a straight line. Now his name in the streets like a ghost in the wind. And the same way he died came back again and again.
Ashes don't lie, truth don't die. Say his name and watch the flames rise high. Ashes don't lie, justice don't hide.
Joshua, he's still alive. They said rumors in the hood, said he seen too much. Said a shadow in the smoke, hit him with that touch. Said mistaken identity, wrong car, wrong night. But the pattern hit twice and the math ain't right. Darren tried to warn him, said the streets don't sleep. Said the truth buried shallow in the soil too deep. Then they found him the same, burned up in his Jeep. When the fire told loud, everybody goes.
Ashes don't lie, truth don't die.
Truth don't die.
Say his name and watch the flames rise high.
Say he's right.
Justice don't lie.
Justice don't hide. DeAndre Joshua, he's still he's still alive. They thought the fire would erase him, but the fire made us remember. And as long as we speak his name, the truth survives the smoke. Oh, we lift up the name of DeAndre Joshua. We lift up his family. We lift up every mother who was buried a child without answer, and every soul taken to a young by violence and silence. Let the truth rise through the ashes. Let justice shake the foundations of every system that failed him. Cover this community in protection, in clarity, and in courage. And let the ones who know the truth feel the weight of their silence until they speak amen.
Fire won't stop us. Silence won't block us. Justice for Dre.
And every name they try to lock up, say his name. DeAndre.
Lock up.
Say his name.